to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got 10 games on Friday night here for you guys. Much more fun things to talk about than that 4-game slate on Thursday night. Definitely want to make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple game videos and our player props as we do each and every weekday of this regular season. So follow along with us. Also want you to head to thelines.com. You can check out all of the great written content we have about the NBA and more up there on thelines.com. And use that odds finder tool that we have up there. Make sure you're getting the best odds available to you. Shop those lines across U.S. sports books this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into this big slate here and then talk about our game, KD, the Suns, and the Bulls.
And we are recording this on Thursday night, a little work conflict tomorrow. So 2 of these games, because teams, the Clips and the Warriors are still in action, don't have lines yet for us, but we do have Magic -3 at the Hornets, Nets +11 at the Celtics, Blazers are +7 at the Hawks with a 240 total. Jazz -2 at Thunder. SGA has been ruled out early. Suns are -6 at the Bulls. Totals 222. Knicks have been getting some action. They've gone from +1 to -2 at Miami as they look to make it 8 in a row. Pelicans will be at the Warriors. Like I said, no line there. The other game we break down, Grizz +6 at the Nuggets. Clippers will be at the Kings, waiting on a line for that one as well. And then the Wolves are -2 at the Lakers, who, of course, win a game without Bron and AD, and they'll get AD back, and we'll see how that goes. But we are talking about the Kevin Durant Suns here, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to just buy low on offense in this game. I mean, both of these teams have been under machines. The Suns go under in this situation all the time. 18-8 against the Eastern Conference. They've gone under in 7 of their last 10. And the Bulls have gone under in 15 of their last 19. And as Josh has pointed out in some other videos, suddenly the best defensive rating in the league out of the All-Star break after with some fresh legs here. Number 1 in fast break points allowed. Number 1 paint points allowed. Second in net rating. Playing at a slow pace, which is the scary part here, like 95 pace, but the Suns in their first game with KD played at 100 pace, which is something, they hadn't gotten above 98 in 8 of their 9 previous ones. And, I mean, yes, you have a 91 defensive rating against the LaMelo-less Hornets. That's great, but the Bulls have a little bit more firepower than that. I mean, they've got guys that I don't think have really, in terms of DeRozan, I don't think has really been unleashed. We talked about the numbers he puts up on extra rest, but they haven't really needed him because they've been shutting down some bad offenses. I think you can say the Nets, Wizards, and Magic, their last 3 home games have just held them all below 100. You look at their previous home games against the Bucks and Blazers, though, offenses that actually do scare you, and they have defensive rating around 123. It is a bit of smoke and mirrors saying the Bulls are suddenly a top-tier defense. And I mean, even if you are, you're now talking about Kevin Paul Booker, the unstoppable machine that looked like they've already been playing together for years. They had a little bit of an extra rest baked in before that debut, where I think they definitely worked on some things, talked about some things in terms of defining the roles. Booker, still the man with a 40% usage rate. KD, ultra efficient, 23 points on 15 shots. And then CP3 not even looking to shoot. 11 dimes, 15% usage rate. It's going to be a pretty easy transition. As everybody's saying, KD is the most adaptable superstar, and he's just going to step right in. And the Bulls have had no answers for him when he was with the Nets. He averaged 34 points per game with a 134 rating. The Suns have won 6 straight over Chicago, scoring 127. With the pace being below 100 in all those games. Although the last time they faced each other, the pace was 101.7. Both Booker and DeMar DeRozan had 38 points, and the game totaled 245. So we don't need it to go crazy. We just need it to be relatively high scoring, a normal NBA game in today's world. Right. And I think with Kevin Durant on the side, that probably going to be closer to 30 minutes here in his second game back. I just trust there to be enough points flowing, and I'm just a little. I think the Bulls are going to find a way to hang around, whether it's high scoring or not, and that's why I'm a little reluctant to just say Suns -6 on the road. This is a Bulls team that's very frustrating to try to bet against or short. I mean, they beat the Celtics twice early in the season. They will just step up when you try to count them out, and I think they'll be going blow for blow here with Durant, which definitely means points.
Yeah, I mean, the things I'm finding in this game, and what do you do with KD in there? I mean, they have one game against Charlotte. They won by 14. I don't know what to do with the way the offense flowed or didn't flow or just whatever. Charlotte's not going to play defense. If they weren't going to buckle before LaMelo Ball was out for the season, they definitely started to as soon as he was out. But I think in this one, I'm more looking at some of the trends that I think do play a role in what we're talking about here. First of all, Chicago's not good against the West. I do think that holds some merit here. 6-13 against the spread in non-conference games this season. They tend to go over in those as well, about 11-8 against the total. Not about, they are 11-8 against the total in those games as well. And so I think there's something to be said for that. They are one of the best defenses in the league in the last 15 games for a decent reason, to be honest. Some of the lineups that they've been putting out there make sense, and even Pat Bev, who at this point has made it into, he's been played enough minutes at this point that you can put him into some serious, searches on different stat sites and say players who have played a minimum of 100 minutes, and Pat Bev is up there, so he's got enough time to say, all right, let's see what he's got in the 6-7 games he's played, and he's amongst one of, in two of the top 5 lineups, unsurprisingly, in terms of their defensive rating when he's in there. But even other guys that have, Andre Drummond has been getting roughly 21 minutes. Finally having a defensive center in there, something they haven't had since they traded Wendell Carter Jr. But right now, even though that's been the case for them, like I said, against the West, not quite the same. And against the West, not only have they been going over, not covering, their offensive rating has actually been better, and their defensive rating has been what I think we remember it when it was really bad, up to about 120, 119 and a half. So they're given their games are going at averaging about 240 points against Western Conference teams in their last 10 this season, where actually 8 of those have gone over. A few of those unders were earlier in the season when they had an even more anemic offense and actually some pretty bad defense, but they were just losing either way. They're a little bit better now. I'm still not so totally trusting of them. I do think it's scary because they could play spoiler here, but I do think that the Suns, the new look Suns, the fact that their back is against the wall, they're 3 games back of those Kangs for the Pacific Division, and I would imagine that they want to win that with just roughly 20 games left to play. So it's nut crunch time, and I don't think they have time to waste. Even if they are in Chicago, they got KD for a reason. They're locked in for a reason. So I'm a little bit less scared of taking them in this one, but honestly, Phoenix money line and an over 222.5 feels like a really nice bet. Also, on top of just get the money here and take the over 222.5, like we both feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I think there's a good correlation there between it being a high scoring game and Phoenix winning, for sure. And Pat Bev, I mean, you mentioned 2 guys who play point guard and center and can't really guard up positions. Like Pat Bev is not going to be on Durant or Booker necessarily. I mean, maybe he'll spend a little time on Book, but those 2 guys are
annoying.
It's like a flea to swat off. They're just not going to be bothered by where Chicago defends on the wing. I mean, it's Levine and DeRozan, who are in their own right excellent offensive players. Levine's averaging 28 with the 121 offensive rating in his last 12, and just had 41, I believe, last game. So he could certainly light it up and come back the other way. Yeah, I mean, the Suns, I would expect to win even before getting Durant. They had won 9 straight against non-playoff teams / the Brooklyn Nets, which we hope will be a non-playoff team when all is said and done. They, for some reason, they also beat the Celtics on the road in that span. 2 losses to Atlanta. For some reason, they can't handle them. But look, they, again, won 6 straight against this Chicago team. And the last 3 of the last 4 have gone over. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of that continue here. And like I said, because of the under trends before they shook things up a little bit here, you're getting some value in terms of the number at 222.
Yeah, and like I said, I like Phoenix. In answer to your question, Not that you asked it, but you're saying why, for some reason, Atlanta, they're not good against point guards. They can't really guard point guards because Chris Paul is getting much older. He's used to be a crafty steals man, and I suppose he's still capable of that occasionally, but obviously career lows in steals this year, as well as amongst a number of other stats that are career lows for him. And at this point, who are you? The point guard on Chicago is who? Kobe White, like Ayo Dosunmu. That's not the position that Chicago attacks you from. So that's why I also like Phoenix in that sense. That I think they're able to guard what you want to do if you're Chicago, which is that wing mid-range stuff. Couple of 6'7+ guys at least all over the perimeter and inside the mid range for Phoenix to be able to win this one. But I would still say the pace and the ability or the tendency for these types of situations for Chicago to go over and be a little bit faster paced is a good situation for that over at 222.5. Very low in the modern day NBA, as we say. So that's all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Got another game video up for you today and our player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.